Okay, I really want to talk about this. This isn't like a secret technique or anything. It's more like a way of looking into chopping samples. For the most part, is J Dilla, Ninth Wonder, and now Nujabes are the people that I'm breaking down the most. And I've definitely seen patterns of techniques each one likes to use. But what I've been figuring out while doing these breakdowns is that honestly, I give these people, these legends, way too much credit. The last breakdown I did of Nujabes for Sea of Clouds, I went in. It took me months. It took multiple attempts throughout like 2-3 months to get that breakdown in a point where I thought it was good enough to be posted. But still, like, I think I've made a few mistakes because I was just giving Nujabes too much credit, honestly. I thought he was doing things that there was no way he was doing. For example, some stretching techniques, some minute adjustments in pitches that honestly, there's no way he did because he was probably limited by the tools of his time. And it would be just too time consuming for you to do it on a regular, I'm going to sit down and make a beat or chop some samples. He didn't do it. So what I'm figuring out is that simplicity is giving me better results. So my next breakdown is probably going to be Reflection Eternal by Nujabes again. But this breakdown definitely I would have taken as long as I took for Sea of Clouds because he also uses multiple samples. And it's really weird if you are used to using samples like a normal person. And it would take just as long as it took for me to do Sea of Clouds if I wasn't simplifying the process and just thinking like how they did that as fast as possible without overthinking it, honestly. So here you can see that I try to do it. First, let me just play the beat a little bit. So you see the piano is kind of up tempo compared to the sample. The sample is super slow. The sample is ridiculously slow. So yeah, that's super slow. I, as any normal person would do, would be like, okay, so it's slow, and in the beat it is faster. So he probably just stretched it and made it fit, right? No. And it's not even like this sounds okay because I did minute stretching to I stretch each section differently. You can even see here that I have these yellow markers for every beat, for every hit of the piano, so I could stretch them separately, which honestly wasn't a good idea because that means that every single hit I would be stretching it to make it fit the pattern of the beat, which is not something that he would do. He would not go every single hit of the piano and stretch it differently from each other. That just takes way too long. What he did was something much simpler that is also something that I noticed that he did on the Sea of Clouds breakdown, and I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him doing many other breakdowns of many other beats that he did. So instead of altering the sample at all, he doesn't repitch it, he doesn't stretch it, no warping. I would say he probably started with the drums. He probably looped, found a drum groove and played it on top of it because that would be easier for you to know where everything should hit. But here he simply chopped the remaining of the sound off. So example, he played the note and then he cut it off and then played the other note and then he cut it off again. So he's just cutting off the ends and making it hit whenever he wants to. On an MPC, that would be easy to do, and you can even play with your hands. You just put every note of the piano on a pad, like I separated here with the yellow markers. He would just put every yellow marker on a different pad and play with on top of a drum groove. I know this sounds okay, but this sounds exactly like it. And then Okay, it gets complicated because he did do some stretching here. Oh, he did do some stretching here on the blue ones for the other sample, and then in green he kept it the same as the original sample. But yeah, he probably has a great ear because he combined two samples without any warping or any repitching, so that's just great ear. But and this breakdown is gonna be done probably like in a week. It's almost done. But yeah, he did just chop the ending of the samples off and replayed it. So it'll be really easy to just do this on an MPC. It's just something I don't see many people doing. I see it's way more common for you to just chop the piece that you want to use and re-stretch it to the tempo you want to use, instead of actually just like chopping every hit of something and cutting off the end, because you would get some clicking sounds if you don't do this perfectly, if you don't cut it off at the right spot. If you can even hear some clicking here, like right here, you can hear the clicking. I could probably make this better, but honestly, you can just do some drums on top of it, and the clicking becomes obsolete at that point. So yeah, I hope you guys are like excited for more breakdowns. I'm definitely love the feedback that I'm getting. Most of those people on Reddit for the Nujabes, they were really excited. They're really excited for me to be working on Reflection Eternal. So I'm gonna try to get that out as soon as possible, probably next week.